Genesis 42. When Jacob, that's Joseph's father, saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" In other words, you guys, none of you have an answer, none of you are doing anything. You're just like, what are we going to do? And Jacob said, "Indeed, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. So that wouldn't include Benjamin, to be the older boys. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, "Lest some calamity befall him." So in other words, Jacob is still pining the loss of Joseph. And remember, Rachel was his favored wife, and he only had 2 children from her, and now he believes that Joseph is dead or lost. Verse 5, "And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who sojourned, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth." So let's just do a little trip into history in Genesis 37 and verse 5. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So he said to them, "Please hear the dream which I have dreamt. There we were binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And indeed your sheaf stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." So here we see prophecy fulfilled. Verse 7, "So Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them. But he acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly or harshly to them. Then he said to them, 'Where do you come from?' And they said, 'From the land of Canaan, to buy food.' So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Obviously not. First of all, they think he's dead. They would never expect him to be like ruler over Egypt. And then obviously his appearance would have changed to look and dress more like an Egyptian. Then Joseph remembered the dreams which he had dreamt about them. And he said to them, 'You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land, or how this land is exposed.'" You know, those are the fences and everything else. And they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's sons." So in other words, they're right. Jacob is their father, but they're obviously from different mothers. "We are honest men." Listen to that. "We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." Now what happened between this was, remember when because of Dinah, their sister, they told those people be circumcised, they murdered them, and then they looted them. And here they're saying, "No, we're good men." But he said to them, "No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land." In other words, you have come to see how we are exposed. And they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers, the son of one man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more." Speaking of the very Joseph that's talking to them. But Joseph said to them, "It is as I have spoken to you, saying you are spies." In other words, Joseph said, No, don't believe you. What I'm saying, that you are spies, that's the truth. "In this manner you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh you shall not leave this place unless your younger brother comes here. Send one of you, and let him bring your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you. Or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." So he, Joseph, put them all together in prison 3 days. Then Joseph said to them the 3rd day, "Do this and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house, but you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die." And they did so. Then they said to one another, We are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Therefore this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered, saying, "Did I not speak to you, saying, 'Do not sin against the boy,' and you would not listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of us." So they're talking in their language, not realizing that Joseph can hear them or understand them. Verse 23, "But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. And he turned himself away from them." In other words, he went out of the room, went somewhere and wept. Then he returned to them again and talked with them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave a command to fill their sacks with grain, to restore every man's money in his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus he did for them. So they loaded their donkeys with the grain and departed from there. Then obviously where they're going to rest for the night, verse 27, "But as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey feed at the encampment, he saw his money, and there it was in the mouth of his sack. So he said to his brothers, 'My money has been restored, and there it is in my sack.' Then their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, 'What is this that God has done to us?'" Why they're blaming the Lord, but anyway. Verse 29, "Then they went to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan and told him all that had happened to them, saying, 'The man who is lord of the land spoke roughly or harshly to us and took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, we are honest men.'" Yeah, honest men when previously with their sister Diana, what happened to her, they told those people be circumcised and they murdered them and then ransacked their whole village. "We are not spies." So obviously, Joseph knew that about them. Verse 32, "We are 12 brothers, sons of our father." So in other words, of course, they have one father, but they have different mothers. "One is no more, and the youngest is with our father this day in the land of Canaan." So the one who's no more is the very Joseph they're speaking to, but they don't know that. "Then the man, the lord of the country, said to us, 'By this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me. Take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother to me, so I will know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. I will grant your brother to you,'" that's Simeon, "I'll give him back to you, and you may trade in the land." Then it happened as they emptied their sacks, that surprisingly each man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said to them, "You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more," because he believes Simeon's going to be killed or is killed. "And you want to take Benjamin? All these things are against me." Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, "Kill my 2 sons if I do not bring him back. If I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands." In other words, trust me with his life. I will bring him back. And he ends like that. "I will bring him back to you." But he said, "My son shall not go down with you." In other words, Benjamin. "For his brother, Joseph, is dead, and he is left alone." In other words, he's the only child from Rachel, the wife he really loved. "If any calamity should befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my grey hair with sorrow to the grave." So yeah, he doesn't want to let them go. And obviously they're going to eat the grain that they have until it runs out.